Just taking off the end cover here. This thick area has these longer bolts. Shorter bolts are around this thinner area here. And we go to the long bolts here at this thick section. Okay, I've got all the end case gears and parking mechanism removed. Just taking a look at these bolts before I try and separate this case without any proper special tools. Just kind of looking to see where all these brackets are supposed to be so I can reassemble it correctly. This reverse idler gear seems to be no way to get it out of the case, but it does have to be removed. This shaft here has O-rings on it and feels strange to remove. This large silver piece, that's the, I guess you would call it upper guide. You just pry that off of there gently. It'll feel like it'll feel strange, but it'll come off clean. Alright, unfortunately we had to have at least one bolt come out and bring some threading with it, so that hole is going to have to be fixed up. The camera won't focus on this bolt. Yeah, this bolt did come out poorly and the hole's going to have to be rethreaded. The bolts are all pretty varying lengths, but when you lay them all in there you can see they all stick out the same amount. Okay, we've got our case open. There's a huge amount of filth in the bottom area around that magnet. There's the drain plug right there. These bearings all come out with the case. We got a spacer on this side here, which I wasn't expecting to be there. I was expecting that to be on the other side. We still have to get all this apart. You see there's quite a bit of filth there. May be able to see some metallic content within that filter. Very obvious. Obviously a lot of real shit everywhere. Well, we're going to see what else we find in here. Just confirming here before I disassemble this stuff here that the selector shaft is on the last detent there. Should just slip right out of that control valve plunger, the main manual valve. I'm happy to have found a first and second verifiable failure in this tranny. This bearing's wiped out. May be hard to see here, but that spacer is supposed to be flat. That disc that's all distorted and coned out towards the seal. That seal was leaking about a quart every 10 miles. Here's the bearing. Severe amount of play here. You can see these rollers just falling all over the place. I bought this car and drove it 120 miles before now, and I cannot believe this did not make any noise that I could hear while driving this car. But it leaked a huge amount of fluid out of that axle seal, not just due to the back and forth movement around the seal, but there was also end play in the diff coming in and out. And also this plate here, it may be hard to see, is jammed up against the seal and also distorting the seal as it sits now. Also, I've already found that this manual valve here, once I extended it out far enough to remove the selector shaft, is very stiff in the bore. I'm sure this is just the first of many valves I'm going to find like that. I've also found some substantial but serviceable damage to the case from the edge of this ring gear here riding on it. You can see there's some burrs there that are going to have to be shaved off so they don't fall off in a tranny later. And we got a pretty decent groove wore in here. And I'm going to do the best I can to clean this bearing out, which I have no doubt has taken some metal in. Although you can see the rollers look really nice, so that's a good sign. It's our accumulator cover there. Still don't know this unit very well yet, but just taking a little go around here so I can see how it looks before I take it apart. Can move our reverse servo piston, and I'm not sure why that does that, but I'm sure I'll find out the deeper I go. The amount of filth I'm finding in this thing is just really amazing. Chunks of metal, just absolute filth. Very obvious problems. Got damage to that little screen there, and literally piles of metal on the spacer plate. Lift this thing off and see what happens here. And there we can see this punctured screen all clogged full of shit. I hope that's in my overhaul kit. And there's a nice just pile of metal down in the end of a fluid passage. Just came out of here like that. Let me see how this manual valve comes out, because it is stiff. Oh, there we go. There's some light scoring, possibly from pulling it out just now there. I'll have to see what else we find here. But this is the main valve body. We are going to be removing that momentarily. Just noting the position of the dowel pins, where that fucked up screen is. And then this has the spring behind it here. I think that's where that came from. See, there's some scoring in there. That may not be a good thing. And then there's also this dowel here. Just about to pull this bearing off here and just observing just how fucked up it is. A lot of chips off the top of these rollers. Still don't understand how this thing didn't make any noise I could hear. But I guess that's just me being incompetent. Alright, I got both new diff bearings installed. Now I'm just on the torque converter housing. About to hammer out this mauled spacer. Then this mauled diff bearing race. Shit, even without out of focus, you can see big giant pieces missing. But the other bearings seem to be okay, so we're gonna give it a shot reusing them.